This is a public service announcement from horror movies. If you ever come across a creepy old man that has no living family and all of a sudden is raising a small child, it's nothing to worry about. If a full-grown man comes out of a ladies' room with a young girl, don't worry about it. It's fine. This has been a public service announcement from horror movies. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
I just had to stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face!
Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Horror Movie Talk. This is Bryce Hanson. I have a PhD in spookology, and across from me sits...
Hey, I'm Professor David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. Sorry about that energy. It's...
Here at Horror Movie Talk, new theatrical releases get priority, so we're going to be reviewing Don't Breathe 2.
Don't Breathe 2. It's like it's like the first one, but just insane.
Before we get started, a cool thing you might not know about Horror Movie Talk is we have the very best community of any podcast you've ever listened to. If you go over to our Facebook group, on Facebook, you'll find that out. And just want to say congratulations to Alan R. for the new baby that he posted about on our Horror Movie Talk group.
Hey, Opa! Mazel!
He posted a picture of the baby, and it looks like...
Does it look like
too
Jason?
Good. It looks like a movie baby, like a baby that's 2 months older than it should be.
Bring in the stunt baby.
And they, like, spray some goo on it. And they're like, yeah, this is newborn.
Was it born on Friday the 13th?
I think.
God damn!
I think so.
That's legendary. A horror movie fanatic has his child born on Friday. That's a literal small town news headline.
Mm-hmm. And he's not naming it Jason. So,
well, that's a waste.
So, congratulations, but you are a disappointment to us.
It's a double-edged sword.
Check out our website at horrormovietalk.com. There you'll find links to all of our social media and all of the things that we want you to find. Today is the second Saturday, so I guess we're going to have a watch party.
Yeah.
I was going to do it last night, but then it didn't have the stream thing, whatever that...
Streamlounge.io, which is where we will be streaming. If you don't have a Streamlounge.io account and you want to participate in Second Saturday watch parties, maybe sign up for Streamlounge.io. Yeah.
David!
It's free. Yeah. So anyways, we'll have that tonight and every second Saturday until we decide we don't want to do it anymore.
It's pretty cool because it's like Twitch, but for watching movies,
yeah.
So you can watch us watch the movie with you watching the movie with us and chat and blah.
Speaking of Twitch, we do have a Twitch channel that David is very active on, and he gives makeup tutorials and plays games.
Yeah, I put makeup on last time. I liked it a lot. I got to tell you, it awoken something inside me, and I liked the way I looked. I guarantee it. I did. It felt pretty, and my girls thought I was pretty too.
Well, it really makes your eyes pop when you wear mascara.
Yeah,
that's the thing I learned from theater.
It was nice. It was nice to be noticed.
Okay. We post new episodes every Wednesday. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you use that.
That helps us out a ton. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, please.
If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, the number is 682-253-4468. We'll say that again later, or you can just rewind it if you need to. And also we have the elusive and mysterious body fluids exchange.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. Go ahead and read that number.
Which is 252-228-4628.
Yeah, you guys really need to step it up with the farts, the queefs, all that stuff. Get your girlfriend to queef on the phone. It'll be fine. Just, we just need more.
We haven't seen any evidence of this, and I'm starting to wonder if this is just a fetish thing for David.
Ouch, David.
Whether he's literally just using it for his own devices, because hasn't benefited the podcast yet.
You know, what do I say? If nobody calls in, there's no content.
I'm just saying, there could be like 10 calls a week, and I wouldn't know. Maybe you're just listening to them and getting it off.
I can show it to you, but yeah.
Anyway, we've got a great show today. We're going to start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge, where it makes you angry, 5 being an average film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about this film, and then later on we will be listening to voicemails and horror movie whores. Whore! And we still have some that were left from last time and some more since.
Yeah, we got thick, ropey loads of backed up voicemails. Yeah.
So we went and saw Don't Breathe 2, and it was bonkers.
Fucking awesome, dude. The more I marinate in this movie, the happier I am about it.
I have the opposite view. Here's the trailer.
Failed. The gun is in my hand.
Sorry. I'll make it next time. You almost got me, didn't you, boy?
We had a lot of fun today. I could take her again next week.
No. Home safely. Shadow!
What do you want?
You're coming with us, kid.
Get the girl!
It's not me you need to be scared of, little girl, but the man standing next to you. Now, I don't know who he is, but I know who he's not. Should I tell her or you?
He's gonna come for me.
You're gonna see what I see.
I see it. I see it, David. I see what he sees. It's a shitty movie. Alright, and then the rest of the trailer. So anyways, Don't Breathe 2. Don't Breathe 2 can be found only in theaters.
Right now, yeah. Yeah.
Which is apropos because, like, you shouldn't be breathing.
Definitely not.
COVID is resurging.
COVID-19.
And it's like a sequel to the first. Don't Breathe 2 is a wholesome coming-of-age tale of a blind father teaching his young daughter how to survive in the world. This sequel to Don't Breathe takes the elderly kidnapper/rapist and casts him as the good guy. When a band of home invaders come to kidnap little girl, old man not like this. He listened good. Bangy, bangy, choppy, choppy. This movie is bonkers.
It's supremely insane.
And from our quick take review, like, I know that we're going to diverge on our opinions about this movie.
Yeah.
And it'll be a good conversation, but it makes so many absurd choices and switcheroos that I ask myself about every 10 minutes, what am I supposed to be thinking right now? Like, what's what's the point of the things that are going on right now? And
Shut up, stupid. Sit down and get fucked, buddy.
The world in which this movie inhabits is so depraved and insane that I started rooting for the little girl to die just so she could escape the hell that is her life.
It makes you question everything. It makes you sad and makes you feel lots of weird emotion.
It's like just gross.
Yeah, it's real gross.
Yeah, it's and the first movie was real gross too, but it was an actual movie. Like it felt like
it didn't feel like this. This is like this gets put on a shelf, you know,
right?
Of like interesting ideas that are gross. Like,
yeah, there's so many times where my suspension of disbelief was completely shattered that it's almost impossible to watch this as a movie, and I ended up looking at it like performance art.
This is a good point. This is a really good point. Keep going.
The ideas of character, theme, and morality are thrown out the window to give way to just pure depraved spectacle. Mm-hmm. And it's got a lot of that.
Yeah.
And, if you're looking for gore and kills, this movie has that in spades. If you want to have a story that is consistent where things happen for a reason, this ain't the movie for you.
No, I think things happen for a reason in this movie. It's just always turned to 10. The volume is turned to 10 with every decision. There's no room for neutrality or mild behavior.
There's enough inconsistencies, and I've got a list of them in the spoilers that we're going to start off on.
We'll call this episode Bryce Nitpicks Yet Another Movie.
I know you're going to say that, and I know it's like, okay, cinema sins. Let's nitpick these stupid things.
You said it, not me.
These are legitimate, it's not like, oh, why is she an astrophysicist when she's so gorgeous? It's like, no, this is literally the character acts this way, and then it's revealed that they're this, so it makes no sense that they would act that way before.
See, okay, and I'll address this once you're done with your review.
Sure.
But I'm glad you spoke about it in the way you did, because it unlocked something for me just suddenly.
I'm sure I could find reasons to explain these inconsistencies and but it's not.
Yeah, no, don't try. Don't try. That's not the point of this movie.
But it would be like a fan theory. It wouldn't make sense.
This is a straight I'm so impressed with how fucking insane this movie is.
Where do we go? So the plot is just a series of events that just happen sequentially. And the only thing that almost holds it together is that there's a consistent stream of surprise reveals and switcheroos in the second and third act that it captures your attention like a car wreck might. That's the only thing that really is driving the movie are those moments. Other than that, it's literally just depraved violence.
This is a comic book. That's exactly what this is. This is exactly a comic book. Because with comic books, you need to catch people's attention visually and thematically. And then the plot is kind of a back seat. Instead, it's like, oh shit, whoa, wow, the Joker cut off his face. Holy fuck. That's nuts. Right. And then you just get to the next thing where it's like, oh, now he's wearing it. And it's like, oh, well, that doesn't... I mean, it makes sense because he's the Joker, but also, but it mostly, it's it's a different style of storytelling, bar none. And the rules are shifted. In our quick take review, I said, this reminded me of RoboCop 2. Mm-hmm. And RoboCop 2 is one of these movies that so messed me up as a kid, just because of the shocking things that happened during it. This little kid being so thoroughly perverted and messed up at the age of 9, that it shocked me to my core. and it made this comic book style, like somehow, it somehow made it not make sense. It just made it appealing,
right?
Because of the incredible audacity of the storyteller to be like, here's the most fucked up thing that you can possibly imagine. Deal with it. And now here's another. And if that wasn't enough, here's icing on that cake. You know,
right? So here's my issue with that analysis of, and I agree that like comic books, one of the paramount features of it is themes.
I'm not
and
saying
thematic material.
I know you're gonna critique it by saying this is a movie and this is not a comic book.
No, I'm not gonna say that.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna ask you, if that's the commonality, what's the theme of this movie?
Depravity.
I mean, okay, just that.
I mean, yeah. It's like it's like revenge. It's it's revenge. It's sadness. It's depravity. It's those things. There's not redeem. It's not like a redeeming good message if that's what you're.
No, but I mean, like if you look at a comic book or like Joker or something, like it's the theme is insanity or like the reaction to order or all these things. Like you can put your finger on it. Like there's depravity,
depravity and sadness.
What's the reason for the depravity? Like what's the theme behind it?
Detroit.
Okay.
I think that's a good reason.
So what score do you give this?
What score do you give it?
I'll give my score after you give yours. You can read my score.
This is coming out of the theater, I was kind of like, Jesus Christ. I was kind of like just lambasted by it. I was like, wow. It was just a lot to digest. And but I definitely had a good time, and this came out of such left field because like I barely remembered the first, and the first it was nothing special to me. It was probably a 5. Right. I was like, okay,
yeah,
blind dude, weird, kids break into his house, yada. Okay, so there's a turkey baster in there somewhere. But this one was so weird and out of left field and just kind of like depraved for depravity's sake that it struck me kind of the same way Kuso struck me, just like, wow, what a spectacle this is. So I coming out of the theater, I was at a 7. I think I'm at an 8 now. I really enjoyed this.
Wow.
Yeah, just and thinking about all the visuals and all the moments, like I can remember so much of this movie. I can remember all of it. Because it was shocking me the whole way through. I was just like, "Damn, whoa!" And it did have a cool visual style as well. It? Well, I liked it. Yeah. It reminded me a lot of kind of like a darker, grittier John Wick or like 8mm, like really just kind of going for the gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you sit?
This is, we are completely off base on this one.
Big upset.
I had to stew on this one because thinking of it in terms of like an average movie.
Yeah.
It's not average. Like it doesn't hit all the expected marks, as we'd say.
Yeah, no, it vaults over them by like 10 feet.
And there were moments where I was incredulous and laughing at the movie, and sometimes that raises the score for me.
Right.
But for this movie, it was so... For me, it's barely a movie. And there's barely anything, like, really redeeming about it in the form of entertainment.
Uh-huh.
To where, like, if all you're going for is, like, okay, I want to see some interesting kills and some gore and, like, some depraved horror.
This is that.
Like, that's fine, but there are way better movies than this one that you can get that for.
I don't know.
Like,
this is a pretty neat package of, like, slasher fans and action fans will cream over this.
if they don't care about like an actual movie, yeah,
they don't. Did you hear what I said?
I guess, like, I mean, this movie would best be watched on YouTube in a series of clips.
No,
it's not good.
I totally disagree.
I literally want to steer people away from seeing this movie because it's not worth your time. I give it a score of 3.
Oof.
David, this is so awkward.
Oh. That really...
Ouch, David.
That hurts, Bryce. 3. This is awkward. How are we going to continue from this point?
So, we can continue by talking about night channels. Nightchannels.com.
Something we all agree on.
Yeah, something we all agree on is quality and awesome. And they just, speaking of quality, they added a new... like shirt type. So they've been, I think they have copy. I should probably pull that up, what they wanted us to actually
they
say.
don't. No, they don't have shirt copy. They don't have copy.
So I mean, the traditional shirts and the ones that I've bought so far, like the Hanes, Gildan, cotton ones, where it's like your generic t-shirt, like 90s.
It's pronounced Glidden.
Is it Glidden?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yeah, now they have the premium Bella canvas shirts. They also have...
it's Gildan. Gildan.
Glidden. It's pronounced Glidden.
Anyways, they have, like, you know, the new fancy soft t-shirts too for all their design. So I mean, if you care about how your t-shirt feels on your body,
you can alter that to your personal preference.
Right. Anyways, nightchannels.com is an awesome web store that has lots of horror themed, music themed, and
occult
literature themed designs that you're not going to find anywhere else, that are super niche and obscure. And if you're a fan of horror, you're going to find something that you just can't live without. And all we ask you to do is go to nightchannels.com and browse, and I guarantee you're going to find... I guarantee you're going to like the way you look.
I'm looking at a 3D Baphomet shirt that's just badass as hell. Oh, man. I need this on my body right now. Anyway.
So if you go there and check out and use code HMT at checkout, you get 13% off your entire order. And that's the spookiest percentage. So go over there and do that, and you'll help them and especially us, because they're a really good sponsor for the show.
And if you're listening to these commercials, you should know that you don't have to. Also, you can get access to a whole nother podcast that we produce called the Afterpod. All this is on our Patreon. You can vote on movie. You know, if you're one of these people who's like, you should watch SS Experiment Camp 2. Hey, you know what? You could actually make that happen if you join our Patreon.
Yeah.
You know, there's even a level where we send you a shirt every at the start of your patronage. So
I wanted to highlight one of the tiers. So it's the Too Spoopy For You tier, and these are you get a lot of things that are on here, but the most important things is you unlock the Afterpods, where we leave the mics running and we talk about behind the scenes and life and stuff.
This is for $6.66 a month.
And you get a shout out in one of our episodes. You get early access to that week's episode without ads as soon as it's edited, and access to all our sound drops. So go to patreon.com/horror movie talk and just check that out and see if there's a tier that suits your fancy. We also have a shop on horrormovietalk.com/shop where you can buy our logo tees and our stickers that we have left.
Coasters, a lot of coasters. We even have some magnets. All these are produced. The artwork for them is produced by our hard fucking artist, Dustin Goebel. We have a Scream magnet where he has a little speech bubble that says, "What's your favorite horror movie podcast?" Mm-hmm. And you should support Dustin Goebel by checking his stuff out over on Instagram at dgoebel00. That's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram, and tell him HMT sent you, because that dude, he is I mean, he's the wind beneath my wings.
Our number to call and leave a voicemail is 682-253-4468. Thanks again for listening. Let's get into spoilers. And just as a warning, there will be some spoilers for Don't Breathe 1 in here too.
Yes.
There's some things I want to talk about that
Sure.
involve that. So we'll see you after the thing plays. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Oh.
It's not the same. It's not. Anyways.
Rip Yamaha.
Rip Yamaha. Did you bake it yet?
Dude, I have not had the time to do that. It's a lot of screws.
Yeah.
It's a lot of screws.
Okay, so this is like my cinema sins part, okay? And none of these I think are that nitpicky. It's literally, they were so confusing to me that I was baffled of why the characters would make these choices or why things were the way they were.
I get to be Ebert. Now you're Siskel.
Okay, so the very first one where I was like, what the fuck? Was little girl is taking a piss and she's washing her hands, and in the doorway, like inside, he's like standing inside of the ladies' room, is the creepiest creep ever. And
well, he shows up once she's washing her hands.
Yeah.
He shows up in the door.
I mean, he was there when she came. Anyways, he's there. The point is, like, he's inside the bathroom.
He shows up after after she goes in the bathroom.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who's nitpicking now?
Well, I mean, if you look, this is all to set up my defense of it.
So he's inside the bathroom talking with her like a total creep. Like,
yeah. Yes.
And then the dog like growls at him, and she like gets by him. She's not scared by him because she's a strong, independent lady, and she walks.
Should be mentioned that she's like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she walks out, and the girl that's like her chaperone, or the girl that took her into town that's watching her, sees the girl coming out of the bathroom, and like this full-grown man walking out behind her, and she's like, "Who's that guy?" And the girl's like, "Oh, it's no one." And the woman watching her is like, "Okay."
Well, that's not exactly what happened. She let the dog out to go into the bathroom when she saw the guy walk in. She let the dog out of the car. That's why the dog walked into the bathroom. And then she goes, and she didn't go, "Who is that?" She goes, What did that guy want? And the little girl goes, "He's just a creep." And she goes, "Yeah, they're a dime a dozen out here." So it was like, yeah, that's why I let the dog out. Who let the dogs out? The ranger, that girl.
Okay, so that seems normal to you?
No, I mean, what part is the abnormal part?
Nothing is said. No authorities are called. Like
it's the
no
middle
one
of
is confronted.
Dilapidated Detroit. She let a gigantic Rottweiler out. It's like 150 pounds. Like, things are taken care of. This is how life occurs in this terrible place.
Yeah, that's a stretch. And I don't think that it was established that she literally let the dog out for that purpose. I think the dog just showed up.
The dog was in the car because the dog was there, so it got a ride in the car. So you can suspend your disbelief and go, "Oh, well, it got out of the car. It didn't, like, open the door itself. It was let out."
It's, that was the first thing of, like, why would you not, like, be screaming about a full-grown man going into the ladies' room, and why would you not, like, call the police and report him at least?
Well, I mean, again, how do you know? Are you gendering him? How do you know which bathroom he should be using?
Next point. So this one's a little nitpicky, but also was so weird of a choice that I was like, that's not what a normal person would do at all. Mm-hmm. So this girl that was accompanying the little girl is driving back home, and the roadway is blocked, kind of, by a truck.
Yeah.
Like, she definitely could have just driven around it.
I don't think so. I think it was, it was convincingly blocked to my eye. I mean, there was like a big trash pile on one side, and then the only lane to get under this bridge was kind of clogged up by this truck.
And she decides to just get out of her truck
at night.
Yeah. And approach this other truck.
Right.
That's obviously intentionally blocking the road.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get that she's a ranger.
Yeah.
And that she's, like, capable.
She's an airborne ranger.
But also, rangers are not retired. Like, they're not retired.
No.
They're smart enough not to put themselves in a situation where they will definitely get killed.
Right.
And that would be, especially if you, like, see from behind that there's several full-grown men inside the truck.
Well, it has tinted windows.
It's a weird choice.
I don't know. It establishes this as an action movie. I mean, you wouldn't... This is a believable thing within the context of
you could have easily just, like, had the guy that climbed into the back of her truck just surprise her from the side of the road. Like, you could just distract her by, like, have her sit in the seat and honking repeatedly, build up the tension, and all of a sudden, man at window, crushes through window and grabs her and kills her. Like, the same thing would be accomplished in a much more satisfying way to me, that it wouldn't, like, completely distract me, like, well, that was dumb.
But this way she gets to interact with them, and we get to see what dicks they are. We get to see, kind of meet them a little bit. This is the part where we meet the bad guys.
So what's the takeaway with the... we've already seen the creep guy. We already know he's a creep.
Oh, well, now we know he has his buddies, his other buddies.
Sure.
And they established during this moment that they're all ex-veterans.
Yeah.
They're all, what is it? Dishonorably discharged from a dishonorable war.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So doesn't that make it honorable? And she's like, no, I know honor because I'm an airborne ranger. I'm like, hell yeah, bitch, you get some.
Okay, next bullet. As she's coming back from confronting these men, she puts the gun that she has brandished in the glove compartment.
Mm-hmm.
That also felt weird to me. It's like, okay, now you're going to drive past the super creepy men that you get a bad vibe from, and you want to have it at hand, but you want to close it behind a glove compartment. It's just...
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Just weird little choices like that. Of like, no, you'd put it on the car seat, like have a hand on it as you drive past, and then put it in the glove compartment.
Right. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the editor just being like, "Oh, where does this part go?"
Okay. Next point. There's a point at which Norman, the old man, super glues one of the henchmen's face shut with like the giant globule of super glue, and apparently this super glue dries in half a second.
Well, boy, man, this is embarrassing. I feel like this is embarrassing. Like so you get a quick view of the super glue, and it's on the label of it. It says this is the medical super glue. I can't remember what it was called exactly, but it's like for medical use. And that stuff sets like that, and it's on contact with wet bullshit, so
you could just like fill your hand with it and just slap it on someone's mouth, and it would just immediately glue shut.
I mean, you probably... This dude... It's well established that this dude is fucking capable of overpowering these other dudes.
But then wouldn't his hand be glued to his face?
I don't know.
It's...
Okay, should we do this with The Matrix?
I'm sorry that I know the bare minimum of how glue works. I didn't know that was something that I had to just set aside to enjoy a movie, but apparently it is.
It's
because it was the giant, like...
I mean, you didn't recognize that it was the medical super glue, and that stuff sets on contact with wet things like blood and saliva.
Okay.
It's set. What do you want?
All right. Well, we got plenty of medical people on that follow us, so maybe we'll run this by Glittercore and see if it's likely.
Yeah, I'm sure there is some modicum of truth to both sides on that.
And regardless, whether it could set lightning quick like that to where you couldn't even just open your mouth.
Right.
Even if that was true, if you go to your friend in a panic that you can't breathe.
You can't breathe. You got the super glue in my nose and mouth.
Why would his friend choose to cut a hole in his cheek?
Where else would he cut it? All he had was a screwdriver.
So he could have poked a hole in his nostrils.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if he pushed too hard too fast?
Yeah, you'd get a nosebleed as opposed to a gaping hole in your cheek.
I don't know. One, you got a cool story. The other one, you just got a nosebleed.
And it's underlined by the fact that the guy, like, himself just cuts a hole for his mouth to breathe. It's like, yeah, that's what you would do.
Well, he had a knife. The other guy couldn't fight. He's like, look, I got seconds to act here before this guy can't. He dies of asphyxiation. I got a screwdriver here.
Okay.
I love that part. These parts are just me being like, oh, damn, fucking cool. You know, like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't take it that way.
You know, yesterday was Friday the 13th. I watched Friday the 13th Part 3.
Yeah.
In celebration.
3D?
Yeah, 3D. Did you watch anything with 13 in it?
Yes.
David!
Oh, God damn it.
What'd you watch?
Stay tuned for our review of 13 Ghosts.
That's a long ways away, I think, actually.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great week for horror movie viewings.
Oh, I thought it was a fabulous week.
Okay, next bullet point. This is before any of this happens. Why was the little girl, like, shopping for orphanages before anything happened?
Dude, wouldn't you? If your dad was this fucking blind man who basically, like, kept you under lock and key and forced you to run away from dogs to train for your like life in Detroit, wouldn't you be like, boy, I wonder what else is out here? Like, none of that shit happened to me, and I'm not gonna lie. If there were orphanages around Richfield, I'd have been like,
It's so apparent to me that the only reason why they did that was so that they could use that at the end of the movie. That's that they know. Well, we got to show them that orphanages exist.
Yeah.
So we got to have a girl look at a pamphlet of an orphanage.
Oh, an orphanage.
I'm like,
I like this orphanage.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh, they have hot tubs.
Like, if you're a little girl that doesn't like your situation, the go-to is you run away.
You can't blame everything on having been pigeon-toed, David.
Can't.
Next, why? So it's been established that Norman is a, like, capable killer, like a monster of a person that can, with supernatural powers, to overcome his blindness. So why, when there's 5 men,
like Man-Bat,
yeah, why when there's 5 men, all with guns, brandishing them, pointing them at Norman where he's prostrate on the ground? Why do they not fire at a distance?
I can't recall what.
They, like, start approaching him and get within, like, 5 feet of him.
What's happening?
So it's at the end of the movie, and Norman is, like, laying down in the water like he's supposedly dead.
Yes.
And the main villain guy, well, at this time, has sent all of his henchmen, all of them, to go kill him.
Right.
And so they come in the doorway, see him lying there, and they all have guns. And they're like, let's walk towards him for like 20 seconds.
Wow.
Because we can't,
It wasn't 20 seconds.
Bullets are expensive. Like, we got to make sure we can hit him from close range.
Well, because then you couldn't do the cool thing where he feels the water move.
Uh-huh. Where he could feel that there was 5 men.
I will concede that
ripple of water.
I will concede that this could have been set. This scene could have been set up in a more believable way, which is like there's a pool of water, of very shallow water that he's laying face down in, presumably dead. And he's, so in reality, he's just waiting for the ripples to hit his hand so he knows where they're all at. But as they walk into the room, they are on a raised surface that is not in the water. The way to do this would have been to just have the whole room, like, there's no raised surface. It's all just water. Right? That would have been the way to handle this better. And, yeah, I mean, in that regard, it was kind of, but, crime doesn't pay and dummies do crime, so they're not the smartest people on the planet.
Well, like, you have some concession to that point. Here's another one. At some point, this, like, trained killer dog is running after Norman.
Yeah.
And chasing him. And then it just stops.
In the house?
Uh-huh. Like, Norman's climbing up the stairs, and then the dog just stops.
Yeah, you were real upset by this in the theater, but he was going up a ladder. He was going up a ladder into an attic, and the dog was like... Dogs can't climb ladders very good.
Sure they can. Well, the dog got up there.
Yeah, I mean, it did eventually get up there, but I think the ladder was...
I think it stopped even before the ladder.
It was snarling and doing the thing,
Like, there was at least twice where it, like, conveniently stopped running after him.
That's really nitpicky, man. Nitpicky. I mean, the ladder was an obstacle for the dog. The dog was trying. He's a good boy.
And then after the dog, like, switched sides thoroughly.
Well,
like, completely.
This I totally get. Like, this I had no problem getting because the house was on fire and there was a bunch of smoke up there and the old man was like, I can't let this dog burn to death. I feel bad for dog.
But why would it attack its owner? Like, its original owner?
Because it loved it. Now he saved me. Now I love Blind Boy. I love Blind Man.
Yeah, that's not how dogs work.
No, but the owner kicked him. Remember? He goes back to eat at his dish, and the owner's like, "You fucking traitor!" and he kicks the dog.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is. You turned on dog. Now dog turns on you. Man bites dog. Dog bites man. I mean, it was set up, is all I'm saying.
I know. Well, you can set up anything.
Well, they did,
and say, like, "Oh yeah, this happens because," you can just say, like, "Well, I murder people if they put milk in my tea." It's like, well, that. Okay.
Hey, if you say it, and then you put milk in your tea, hey, fuck you, guy, you're dead now. He told you. What do you want?
Another one was, why would you take a girl to the memorial in the center of an exploded house? Like, why would that be, like, a normal thing to do? And then follow-up question, who else was putting flowers there?
Right. Yeah, well,
this is an instance of, like, this definitely makes no sense because the woman is alive. Like, it's revealed that her mother is alive in the end.
Right.
So who's mourning her?
Okay, so, I think we should do a little bit better job of, like, maybe explaining some of this movie because I think
we'll get through whatever. I like it. Like, things happen. Like, I'll give a brief, like, run through of the movie. Okay. So it starts out, old man's teaching little girl, like, survival tricks, and she's not very good at survival, which is proof throughout the movie. And he's got, like, a woman friend that brings him plants that takes her into town.
I think he grows plants, and she's, like, the distributor for him.
Sure, yeah. And they go into town, they meet the creep, there's mention on a radio of, like, human trafficking. They come back without incident. Lady goes out to go home and then runs into the creep guy and his friends, and the creep guy and his friends kill her.
Yeah, kill her. Yeah, this is the Army Ranger. They kill her dead.
Yeah, the creep guy and friends, I think back at the bathroom, like, he identifies this girl as
his...
at least a target.
Yes, his target.
And that they're going to go to this house and follow him to kidnap this girl. And so they invade Norman's house with a little girl, and that's where, like, a ton of action happens, and they're trying to get this little girl, and lots of set pieces. A main one is she goes and hides in a lockbox.
Yes.
And
boy, I forgot all about
there's
that.
A guy that, like, fills it up with water, and then Norman intervenes and explodes the guy, and then they get out of the lockbox and they run away. but they get caught. And then, so in the end, from the house is Creep Guy and friends take Girl because they reveal that Girl is not Norman's daughter, but actually his daughter.
Right.
That Norman kidnapped from them after a house fire.
Right. A meth fire.
Later, it's revealed that it was a meth kitchen blowing up.
Yeah.
And so those guys take little girl back to their house, and Norman is left to die.
Presumed dead by the bad guys.
Presumed dead by the bad guys. Before they had killed Norman's dog, and then Norman actually saves their dog. Now dog is his dog.
Right.
They cut to the creepiest like rec center, like abandoned rec center, and little girl
this is very RoboCop. It's like it's abandoned, like an abandoned school, and this is where we hang out.
I love how Detroit has been portrayed as like an apocalyptic hellhole since the 80s. It's been 40 years.
Bryce, it's been an apocalyptic hellhole since the 80s.
It's still that way. And so at the apocalyptic rec center, it's revealed that her mother never died. She was actually alive. And she proves this by singing the creepiest rendition of a children's song ever. And the girl recognizes her, goes to her, and they explain what happened was there's a meth fire. And
well, they didn't say that. They're like, we had
a kitchen.
We cook some stuff.
We make money from what we cook in there,
like in the pizza.
And then the reveal is like, oh, you're our daughter.
I want to do this part. This part specifically. Okay, so the mom is like, oh, I've missed you for so long. That man stole you. We are your parents. We can tell because you have the same weird hair thing that your dad has. It's a little hair thing. And you know what? Here's some Sunny D. Drink up. And as she's passing out from the drugs in the Sunny D that they give to their real daughter, they explain their intent, which is, Mommy's got a bad heart. But the doctor said, the only way I get to live is if I get a donor. And the only donor I can have is like a direct family member because of blood types, yada, yada, medical reasons. So we need your heart to go in. Mommy needs your heart, which blew me away so much because the way they frame it when they say it is, I went to the doctor. So in your head, you're thinking like Kaiser Permanente. And the doctor was like, we're going to need a heart donor. Be best if it was your own daughter, And Kaiser Permanente sends her on her way, like, sorry, can't do nothing about it. So she's like, need your heart, baby, and this is how we're going to get it. So in my head, I'm like, they're going to, like, take her to, like, Kaiser? I was like, what's happening? How could this possibly be redeemed? This is so bonkers insane. They're going to kill their own daughter for her heart? Because the mom is a meth cook. Mm-hmm. And they need their cook to sell their product.
Right.
So, but they totally pulled it out of the tailspin. And they're like, we got this fucking crooked doctor over here, and he's going to perform this in the downstairs Saw bathroom from Saw. And
see, that's,
you're going to pull your heart out and put it into me. And everything's okay, baby. I love you. Thank you for your heart. And it's like, oh my God, this is so gross. And this poor little girl just found her real parents. And she's like crying and shit because she's like feeling so much emotion over finding her parents. And then what they immediately do is betray her by stealing her heart.
And then Norman finds his way to them because their dog loves him now, and he tells it to go home. And so Norman appears, and he kicks ass and takes names and rescues little girl.
Bada bing, bada boom.
The end.
Yeah. But also, it should be mentioned at the end, Norman's like, I can't take you, little girl. I'm a bad man. I rape. I kill. I pillage. I'm bad. Me bad. So, excused.
Right.
He's repented.
Right.
This is a very comic book.
So, I mean, a couple things like that in retrospect, you're like, what? So the one where it's like, okay, well, who's putting flowers on this memorial in the middle of the burnt house, like where there's structural damages where it could collapse on top of you? Like, okay, who's putting flowers out there when they know that she's still alive? Also, back to like the bathroom, if the guy is the girl's father, why would he just let her go? Or why wouldn't he contact the police? Like, I get you that you're a meth dealer, but also you exist within a world that, like, you can...
It's an illusion, Michael.
And then the last one, this is a little more nitpicky, but also it didn't make sense to me. They have that safe room box. Mm-hmm. So they have the boo box that the girl goes into.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like, there's this whole deal where she can't get it open and, like, it's all locked and all this stuff from the inside for some reason. And then...
You're not going to like how I picked this one apart. Go on.
She's rescued by Norman just opening the door from the outside.
No.
He just pulls it real hard.
Okay, so... I knew you were going to... So did you notice they went to great lengths to actually make this make sense, this part, specifically?
So I didn't see it, but I assumed that what they were trying to say is that she unlocked it, but she couldn't open the door?
So, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, her head was above water, and she just couldn't find the latch, and it, the stakes were high, and she was hyperventilating, yada, yada. But when she got in, the latch was a sliding latch. It was like this. Chink.
Uh-huh.
And if you noticed, this thing's full of water when Norman gets there.
Uh-huh.
And instead of just pushing it over onto its front or back, because it's like this thing, it's like this big bookcase here. Instead of just pushing it over the easy way onto its front or its back, he finagles it to the side and then pushes it over this way. The way where the latch would slide down with gravity. Would go chink off of the hook, it would undo itself with gravity. He goes to great length to like to get it out in the middle of the room and then push it over so that the latch will come down.
Okay.
I'm just saying. That's what happened.
Sure. I mean, it can be explained in that way, but...
The thing that doesn't make sense is that she couldn't just slide it over.
I thought it showed her hands, like, touching it. Like,
she was all over it. Yeah, but I mean, you're a 10-year-old kid. Fuck, it's hard.
All right, so those are, like, the things that literally, like, pulled me out of it. Like, and they happen consistently throughout the movie.
Yeah, I noticed.
It's not like one thing happens and you're like, oh, okay, I can overlook that. That was a weird choice, but they had to set up this thing. It was like, no, it was like this, then this, and then this.
Yeah.
Like, every setup for anything is like, that doesn't make any sense, or that doesn't work that way, or that's not how it would happen in reality. So, yeah, it was really hard for me to, suspend my disbelief because it was fucking shattering it throughout. Okay, so now going back. So, this is a sequel to Don't Breathe. Mm-hmm. And the first act of it, I almost thought, I was like, this really feels like a movie that was written as its own thing, and then they just realized they could stamp Don't Breathe 2 on it and just change a couple things.
This is a standalone movie. I mean,
this so standalone that it completely
forgets the first.
Because
until the end of the movie.
Yeah, until the end of the movie. Like, the most notable thing is, number one, it's established in the first one that Norman is like a turkey baster rapist and kidnapper.
What does that mean exactly?
He's literally not a good guy. Like, this is the person that you should be afraid of. That's the villain in the first movie. Like,
oh yeah,
bar none.
Yeah, no, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's bad.
And it just acts like you don't think about that for the first act of the movie. And it's just basically makes him into a Bruce Willis character.
Yeah,
it's like,
did have me going, wait, how did this? It was fine for me because I was iffy on whether or not I actually remembered the first.
Yeah,
but it turns out I did.
It also kind of undercuts the character too, because the more interesting thing would be, like, that he's a super bad dude, like, he's evil, and these guys are invading his house. So, like, how is it going to be revealed to them that he's evil, and it's not really like, it never really turns that corner. It's just like he fights against him. Right. Like he kills someone.
Yeah, no, it's pretty standalone.
So like the first one is literally set up as a reverse home invasion.
Yes.
His home gets invaded. He locks them in.
Right.
It's a spider's web.
Yeah.
It's a spider's web to capture them.
It's Home Alone.
Yeah, it's Home Alone blind version.
Right.
And that's what makes it interesting. This one is just a straight up home invasion, and none of that comes into play.
This one's almost a superhero movie, like the darkest superhero movie you've ever seen.
Right. So
it's almost Daredevil.
And then the other one is they make a big deal in the first one that to have Norman be like, God is dead. Like, God doesn't exist. There's nothing fair in the world. And like to the point where it's almost making a statement. Like someone that doesn't believe in God acts this way because they're a nihilist. Mm. And then in this movie, he's like,
God is fair.
God is fair, and he exists. Like, okay.
Well, I mean, what? You can't there's a whole fucking sect of Christianity called born again. You can't change your mind. You can't grow as a person.
That would be so much more interesting if it showed Norman as a born again Christian. He's like, my past is behind me.
Yeah.
I'm born again.
David, will you please give me a hug?
He's got a bunch of crucifixes hanging on his walls, and he's got Christian rock music playing in the background and teaching his daughter how to recite New Testament verses. That would be more interesting.
Yeah.
But they just act like
over it.
They act like the first movie doesn't really exist, and to the point of the character is different.
Yeah, I didn't like the first movie. I liked this one. So I'm glad they didn't try and tie it to the first one
See, I like the first one. I don't think it lived up to its potential, but I thought it was enough of a great concept and execution that it deserves a sequel. I think they could have gone further.
It got an 8 out of 10. Sequel.
Couple things that are set up. They mention a human trafficking ring, which is almost to set your expectations that the reason why the creep in the bathroom is there is that he's in a human trafficking ring and he's going to capture the girl. So
it's subversive.
Leads you down that path to where it's like, okay. And they do kidnap her, and they are going to harvest her organs. So, it's not wrong. Right. But, if the truth is that that's his daughter and he's going to take her back, even for the purposes of harvesting her organs, he doesn't act in that way. He acts like a human trafficker.
Right. Yeah, everyone is an Iraqi war vet.
Everyone is an Iraq war vet. Even Norman, I think it says in the first movie that he was in the Iraq war, the first one.
He was in the Iraq war. Huh.
Yeah.
I thought he's old. He seems like he'd be a Vietnam vet for sure.
Well, David, we're very old. So the first Iraq war was,
92.
30 years ago now.
Yeah. But even that puts him...
So if you were 20, you'd be in your 50s or 60s.
Yeah, I guess.
So I'm pretty sure in the first movie he says he's an Iraq war vet.
Fair enough.
And then all these other people are the Iraq war vets from the second Iraq war after 9/11.
I got you.
Why does everyone's a vet from the same war? It's just this weird world where it's like, okay, you don't need to have everyone be a war vet.
This just feels like the Punisher. This is just like how comic books do.
One note I had was, this is John Wick for turkey baster rapists. Oh yeah, so the spoiler for the first movie is that the reveal in the first movie is that they stumble upon his dungeon, where he's kidnapped a girl and tied her up, and it's revealed by him that she was the girl that killed his daughter, and to make it right, he's impregnating her, but he says he's definitely not a rapist. I don't rape. I just take this turkey baster with my pube covered cum and stick it up their cooch.
I like to say the arms.
and that's the level of human that we're talking about.
This movie is so fucked up, man. Just in terms of ideas.
And on the first one, I just love the concept of I'm not a rapist.
take the turkey
taking
baster.
a turkey baster and shoving up someone's vagina is not rape.
Come on.
Who doesn't do
Well,
that?
you going to catch me on a technicality here? Come on.
I call that foreplay.
I get no pleasure from this at all. No pleasure at all. If anything, it's kind of gross.
Some other random notes I took down. No eyebrows equals evil. That's a good takeaway.
I just like to say the bad guys in this are so okay. So the thing that I like about this movie is, so like you said, we've established Norman from the first movie not a good guy. He is a bad guy. But I like that part where to be the good guy, think of how bad to be the good guy in this movie, think of how bad the bad guy's gotta be.
I love the shorthand that they use. Like when they try to do like some shorthand of like, this is the bad guy now and this is the good guy now. Like, it's so movie tropish and so comical to me.
It has to be because there's so little dialogue in this movie.
Right.
They don't. And I feel like they would have fucked that up because the dialogue that is there, not fabulous.
Right.
Not fabulous. So like the route they chose to go, which is like tell with tropes, like is the right route. For sure,
right.
Because if you had a bunch of exposition in this movie, it'd have been fucking way worse.
Right. So the most manipulative and like the most like shorthand way to the point of like, I'm like, do they really expect that's going to work for the audience?
What
like,
is it? What is
the
it?
audience is going to be on board with this. Was they show Norman being attacked by the dog, and then he remembers his dog. He likes dogs. And so he can't kill the dog, so he has to like trap it. And he's a catch and release dog person, even though he's like,
ironically, I bet this is how it would actually play out if you were Norman in this situation. I bet you'd be like, dog's trying to kill me. I don't really want to kill this dog. Like this is a believable thing to me. You know, it's like, I don't want to kill this dog.
But I mean, in terms of manipulating an audience, it's just an interesting choice of like, oh, he doesn't, because it's kind of out of the blue. It's like, oh, okay.
And this is another part that I really liked about the movie.
And then
was you will go to the depths of depravity, but they won't kill the dog in the movie. And I like that. I like it.
And then it cuts to the evil guys outside, and they're like, hey, we got to torch this house because we know Norman's in there. Right. And then henchman number one is like, but your dog.
Your dog's in there. He's like, I give a shit about the dog? That guy's in there. He's nuts.
Yeah.
He'll fucking kill us.
And so it's basically saying Norman won't kill dog. That equals good. This guy is willing to burn the dog, so he's bad. And you're like, okay, this is where like it's like, okay, now I know the movie is telling me who I'm supposed to root for and root against.
Right.
Which is very confusing at many times before and after that.
If you don't shut your fucking mouth, I will kill you.
Yeah, this movie is like, it's ham-handed in an incredible way, but I really can't, I wish there was a word better than bonkers, but it's just insane. It's just totally bonkers. Like, I want more movies like this.
It's absurd, but not in the way where it's trying to be.
Oh, it's trying to be. Okay. Let's get to the part.
It's trying to be extreme,
where it's so over the top that I think I laughed out loud in the theater with just like incredulity. I was like, "Oh my god, how is this a thing?" At the end, there's a battle between the dad and Norman, and they're in an old abandoned pool thing, and they're battling. In this battle, the mom, who's in an electric wheelchair, is handcuffed to her daughter, and she, I don't know, takes a bullet in the chest, a stray bullet, the mom does, and he keels over onto her the controls for her electric wheelchair and drags her daughter into an empty pool. While she's hanging. Her dead mother is hanging from her arm by a handcuff in a empty pool the daughter's holding on for dear life up above, and she's like, okay, this woman who I just met, who I also just learned is my mother, who, by the way, just took a bullet and died, is connected to me by a handcuff. I'm gonna take this machete and I'm gonna lop my mom's arm off so that I don't get dragged into the pool too. But I'm gonna fail and get dragged into the pool too, and I'm gonna fall on top of my blood-drenched mother. It was so fucking, like, it was just the depths of depravity and grossness. And she's, like, getting and hacking into the bone. And it's just like, oh, my God, this is gnarly.
Yeah. I mean, that, great. And that stuff is great. Like, I get it. It's like, okay, this is a moment where it's going to stick with you. And it's pure horror movie, greatness.
Yeah.
What was my last thing? Oh, just a couple more things. The musical score, I realized, especially at the end, was like a complete mismatch for this movie. It's like, it's got the most depraved plot and action, and the musical score is like a Robert Zemeckis movie score, where it's like rising strings. It's like almost like Forrest Gump. Where it's like, oh, yes, now everything is okay.
You're talking about the one time the music hits at the end.
I mean, throughout. Like, a couple times, like, it's... The score... I mean, they don't use music a lot, but when they do, it's like, this is not for this movie. It, like, doesn't feel right.
Yeah, but a few times they had some fucking banging metal music. They were like... Oh, maybe that was the credits.
That was the credits. My apologies. The other thing was... The happiest people in this movie were orphans.
Oh, man.
And the very end, when the little girl, like, is on her own, she goes to the orphanage that she had the pamphlet for.
Right.
She's like, hey, got any room for me? And they're like, hey, join us. We're the happiest people in the world. It's the happiest place in Detroit is the orphanage.
It's for damn sure. I wonder how Detroit feels about this.
Probably not great. At this point, they're probably like, here's some more shit about Detroit.
If you're from Detroit, give us a call at 682-253-4468. Let us know how you feel about the continuing slandering by Hollywood of your city.
I don't see why.
Is it well found? Like, is this pretty
well,
good? Is this about par
like,
for course?
I'm pretty sure there's like huge swaths of land where it's just abandoned properties, where you can buy them for like $5,000.
That is accurate.
And I almost wonder, like, why doesn't everyone that's a remote worker just move to Detroit?
A lot of people are. Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, this was just something that I noticed, that Norman, one of the cool things about Norman, the character from the first movie and this one, is just the very specific way in which he talks. And
very affected.
And it's very affected and very, like, creepy, which is weird when you're trying to root for him.
Yeah, I kept thinking,
but I realized
this must just be this man's voice.
And I realized, like, I couldn't put my finger on it. Like, what does this remind me of? I realized, like, this sounds exactly like Jim Carrey's impression of Charlton Heston.
Oh. Well, and he's a very Charlton Heston-esque
right.
Charles.
So listen to these two clips and tell me if I'm wrong. So this is Norman from the first movie.
Cindy took my child away from me. I thought it's only fair that she give me a new one.
And then here's Jim Carrey as Charlton Heston.
I accidentally shot my foot off.
Aw, shoot.
Ah, shoot. Yeah, no, good ear.
I accidentally.
Cindy took my child away.
Very close.
I mean, right?
Stunning.
Yeah. So, Don't Breathe 2, I think our final recommendations are going to be very different. Like,
yeah, for Bryce, this is just don't go to.
This is something that, I don't know. You could make a case for watching this as a group of friends, but I would wait until you could rent it. Like, I would not see this in the theaters. Like, it's not, even if you're a huge fan of Don't Breathe, like, I feel like you'll be disappointed if you go to this movie to see it as a sequel.
Man, if you like, in my opinion, if you like, RoboCop movies, Starship Troopers, if you're a big fan of John Wick, like this is all of those kind of, and that irreverence for your feelings, that all of those movies kind of, or I should say, Starship Troopers and RoboCop movies kind of don't really care. They want to make you feel gross, kind of.
I don't know. I mean, with those movies that you mentioned, there's a really strong sense of irony and like satire around that depravity. It's
right.
like it's
more
extreme.
serious.
It's extreme to illustrate a point.
Right. And this is extreme for extreme's sake, and I'll definitely grant you that. But nevertheless, it did give me good nostalgia feels on those, and then also like just this probably isn't like Martyr's Serbian film level at all.
Right.
It's definitely a lot more tame than some of the big, don't watch too much for people, Cannibal Holocaust kind of thing. But it is a mainstream movie that is really, really messed up. And bravo, I'd say go see it in theaters. It's pretty bonkers.
You think I'm retarded?
Is what this movie asks.
Well,
all the time.
Yeah, but I just,
My need to engage in homicidal behavior on a massive scale cannot be corrected, but I have no other way to fulfill my needs.
You have no other way.
And the creep father's like,
look at all that young, fresh chicken.
Anyways, let's move on to...
What are we doing now? We're doing...
horror movie whores.
Whores.
I got a good mashup there.
All right, let me pull it up just a second. Okay, so we're going to catch up on some more voicemails. We left off around the end of July. What happened was we took a couple weeks off.
Yeah, in July
for
we
vacation.
typically have a little vacation. And...
We use some backup episodes that we've had for a while. So here's some belated voicemails so we can answer.
Hello once again. This is Biggin from Portland, the founding patron member. I'm just sitting here listening to your Anna and the Apocalypse review, and I gotta say, if you guys ever wanted to do it, I would love to hear the two of you again on reviewing Little Shop of Horrors, because I'm loving this episode. Like, it's kind of nice not having David there, because he kind of gets a little Jack Diddle every now and again. Although he does add quite the spice to the podcast, I gotta say. But anyway, if David ever jacks himself off in the woods again, I'm just throwing this out there. It would be fun to listen to you two review Little Shop of Horrors. Anyway, fuck off.
Yeah.
Thanks, Biggin.
Reviewing Little Shop of Horrors.
That's my friend.
What did he say? Jack, you get a little Jack Diddle? I don't even know what that means.
I don't have any idea. He's not. He's clearly drunk or hopped up on something. I mean, you got to take what he says with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean that would be a good choice. I mean, Emma was a great co-host. Wouldn't want to just wedge her into horror musicals, but I feel like that would be a good outlet for me.
She would be much more happy than reviewing actual horror movies. I think.
Okay.
She's not a big fan of.
That is a great movie. I watched it recently.
Which?
And Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay.
With Rick Moranis and Ellen Green and all those people.
Steve Martin.
And
Bill Murray.
It really does hold up. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Just as a movie's sake. And it's also a fantastic musical. It really does hold up. Anyways, eventually I'd like to watch that. Thanks, Biggin.
Next call. Who we got?
We got Biggin again, I think.
Oh, my God.
You know what? I just realized in that last message that might be construed that I don't like David. And you know what? I know how thin David's skin is, and I want him to know that there are very few people that I would do sexual favors with my mouth for, and David is one of them. Just putting that out there. Anyway.
Oh, thank you
Fuck you guys.
Thank you for saying you'd suck my dick, Biggin. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Although it was kind of a backhanded compliment, I have to say, a little bit.
I mean, are you gonna take him up on that?
Sure. Yeah. No.
You want like the rough, like a bearded sensation of someone blowing you?
Oh, yes.
That's what you'd sound like when you come.
Ouch, David. Ouch, David.
It's your boy Bugsy calling from Tampa. This message is for the sexiest fisting fireman in the entire world. Happy birthday. Happy cake day.
Hey.
Much love, David. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I ate 3 THC chocolate chip cookies. Hit some of this, Dutch Hawaiian vape pen, and very elevated on Dave's said day. But anyways, it's your boy Bugsy. Just had to call in and wish you personally a happy birthday. Much love, Bryce. Let's get it. Horror movie tizzle.
Thank you, Bugsy. You guys should check out Bugsy's latest single, Aesthetic. It's on Spotify. You pay $1 for it, and he'll suck your goddamn dick. He did the song on the end of all of our episodes.
I will suck your dick. I will suck your fucking dick. I will do it. Just join my team.
Bugsy will do it if you join his team.
Ew, no, David.
Okay, here's one from Jackal.
Jackal!
Hey, you bitch. Jackal from Kansas, and I'm fucking wrecked.
Ooh.
I wanted to say happy birthday, David.
Aww.
Birthday boy. You silly little baby. That's about it. Happy birthday, David. I love you. I love you too, Bryce. And I hope y'all have a good fucking Monday.
Jackal knows how to party.
Bye.
In Kansas. I love it. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. My birthday was August 2nd. I'm now 37, which is the first time the number has seemed old to me, where I'm like, oh.
Yeah, 36 is like close enough to 35 that you're like, yeah,
well, it doesn't
in
feel,
my 30s.
The 6 doesn't feel like anything. But
like, there's a gravitational pull to the number 40 once you turn 37. You're like,
yeah,
oh, Jesus.
yeah. And I'm like, oh.
Doesn't feel like you quite round up when it's 36, but 37 is like you round up now.
Unquestionably, like technically you should be rounding up at 35. You know, so now you're definitely, yeah. So thank you for the birthday wishes. If there's more, I will take them.
Top of the morning to you, good sirs. Mr. CJ here from Foxborough, Massachusetts. This is probably my 4th week in a row calling in. You reviewed one of my favorite movies of all time, Evil Dead. I have an unhealthy obsession with the franchise and the legendary Chin himself, Bruce Campbell. I actually met the man himself about a month ago at the oldest drive-in in New York. It's an upstate called the Finger Lakes Drive-In. He was doing a tour called the Bruce Campbell Keep Your Distance Tour, where he was having a showing of both Evil Dead and Evil Dead 1, or Evil Dead 2, and a Q&A and a meet and greet and a photo op and all that stuff. The man is an absolute national treasure and natural entertainer.
True.
He's a jack of all trades, and he should be protected for the rest of his life. Long live Bruce Campbell, and long live Evil Dead. One last thing. I'll swallow your soul.
I'll swallow your soul.
Yeah, there should be like a Hall of Fame for like square-jawed, like super charismatic male actors.
Yeah.
That don't necessarily like, I don't know. It's like,
you got Mel Gibson.
you got like The Rock, where it's like, it's just,
you can smell what he's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Bruce Campbell. I don't know who else.
Yeah, you got Mel Gibson, The Rock, and Bruce Campbell. Right. This is it. Arnold.
That's the Hall of Fame.
Arnold's in there. Thanks, CJ. Not from Boston. I don't know where Scarsboro Fair. Is that what he said?
Hey guys, it's Elizabeth. I'm just listening to your Evil Dead review, which is a fantastic movie. And David was just talking about movies that made him realize that he was really into the horror genre. I just wanted to answer that on my part. And I also wanted to hear Bryce's answer because I know you like The Exorcist, but I don't think you said what gets you into, what your first horror movie you saw that made you realize you liked horror. But the one for me, I would say, is it's either Vacancy or No Vacancy. I've seen horror movies before that, but for some reason that movie just sticks out in my mind as like the movie that made me get into horror movies, where I was watching that and I was like, yeah, I really like this. So, yeah, I don't know. And I had something else to ask, and now I completely forgot. So you might get another voicemail from me. So I don't know. But I was just interested to see what else you guys have.
Here's the other voicemail.
Well, thanks for your call, first of all, Elizabeth. Bryce, have you seen Vacancy with Luke Wilson?
No.
Oh, man, it's pretty good. It's real solid.
So I'll answer her question before we go on to the part two. Yeah. I think we have like an old post on the website that explains like our formative horror things. But for me, if I think back, the farthest I can go to where I'm like, this really kind of affected me, or like I really started paying attention, it would be the 90s It miniseries with Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Like that, just seeing that in the video rental store, the cover, and also I think I might have watched it on TV when it came out, and like the advertising campaign, it was so compelling to me. And then also like later there was the Stand miniseries on TV I was a big fan of. So a big fan of like Stephen King adaptations, apparently. Those are the ones where I really got into it. And then
I think Stand a horror movie?
Sure. Yeah.
I've never seen The Stand.
I mean, it's kind of fantasy. It's like it's apocalyptical, like an apocalyptic virus comes out, and then it's a battle between good and evil.
Okay.
And it's a depiction of the devil. I always get like, I'm a big fan of depictions of Satan. It's just one of the most interesting characters to depict, of someone that's going to trick you or entice you to sin. Like, you can't just have the evil person. It's got to be like,
right,
hey, he's a good looking guy. Like, I would follow that guy.
Yeah.
Which is probably more accurate.
Speaking of which, just stuff we've watched. This just reminded me. I want to get this out before I forget. Did you watch the Val Kilmer documentary yet? Val?
No.
Oh, man, you gotta.
Yeah,
it's great. Anyway,
I think when I started really paying attention in terms of like an artistic aspect of like respecting horror movies as a genre was when I started watching like The Exorcist and some of these other movies that are just kind of the real important movies of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you're like, oh, okay, there's a lot of good stuff in here. And it's not just, wanting to be scared.
Hey, voicemail number 2. Okay, so I totally forgot what I was going to say, and now I just remembered. I just wanted to point out, I don't know if anyone else had this experience, but the Evil Dead 2 VHS box scared the absolute crap out of me as a kid. The skull with the eyeballs, I don't know, there was something about that when I was a kid, I had to avoid it at all times. Like, I saw it. I don't know if this is part of the movie because I hadn't seen that movie in, like 20 years, but something with like the skull on the floor just comes to mind, and ever since then that has been like scared the crap out of me. So I don't know, I just wanted to put in that fun little thing about me. Okay, bye.
What movie was she talking about?
She's talking about Evil Dead 2.
The skull in the floor. I can't remember it.
I don't. Oh, this one.
Let's see.
Show. Hold on.
Oh.
I clicked on the thing here, like that.
Oh, yes. Okay, she's talking about the box art.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yes, definitely. That was one of the ones that stuck out to me as well. That and Dead Alive.
Yeah.
With the little skull in the girl's mouth, and she's so surprised that there's a skull in there.
For me, it was Ghoulies, which we reviewed as a patron-only, like, super special episode. What tier is that for?
The 3 spoopy... it's the $30 tier.
Yeah.
Every month on that tier, we review a movie that only gets released. That review is super pretentious and it has no commercials.
Yeah, if you like bonkers movies like Don't Breathe 2, you'll love Ghoulies.
Oh my god, dude! You know, I watched Ghoulies 2 right after that because I was so smitten with Ghoulies, and in some ways, it's better.
I don't see how that could be possible.
That's what people said about Don't Breathe, but here we are with Don't Breathe 2, a shining masterpiece. Thanks for calling, Elizabeth. I like.
Hey, my guys, this is CJ from Massachusetts. So that means I must automatically be from Boston, right?
Boston.
So I wanted to throw another weapon into the whole spear versus bat debate. And what do you guys think about a spear gun? Let me know your thoughts.
That's just.
All right.
I think we can all agree that that's just insane. It's insane, right, Bryce?
The whole argument is around melee weapons. So a spear gun is a gun. Like,
and not only that, it's just impractical. I mean, is this what people are like over there on the East Coast? Is this what they're like? Bryce, is this okay with you? How do you feel about a spear gun?
I mean, if you have a choice between anything and a gun, any type of gun, you choose the gun.
What? This is a spear gun. Like, you don't have like a quiver of spears on your back. It's just got a spear with a rope on it. You're fucked. You get one shot, and it better be good. And hopefully it's in the water.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
No, CJ, bad. It's weak. God.
It's Michael from Nebraska, and I was wondering how you, David, and Bryce meet. I was just curious.
Show me how those tits fart. I was wondering how those tits fart over there. How did we meet, Bryce?
We worked at the same place. I was in the group interview for David and saw that he lived in Vancouver, and I insisted that we carpool. I was to an uncomfortable degree.
I came home that day after the interview, and I said to Carrie, "There's this guy," and he was like so insistent that I carpool with him. I'm not gonna fucking carpool with him. I don't know this guy from Adam, but he was like, "Oh, it's gonna happen," and then it happened.
I don't know why.
I was like, ugh. Like, that's the total wrong approach to take with me right off the bat, but it worked. Apparently.
Yeah,
start a podcast going for 3 years.
In retrospect, I have no idea. Like, knowing you more now, I have no idea how I got you to carpool with me.
Well, I think I drove it a couple times and immediately realized that, this is why this guy was so insistent about carpooling.
Right. I mean, the point is, like, you get the carpool lane back.
Right.
So it changes a 40-minute commute to 20 minutes.
I'm so fucking irritated at Portland. Such a God damn it. They've had 30 years to do anything about transportation. Anything. That's the last time anything significant happened in the transportation sector in Portland. There's a 205 edition of the 205 bridge in like 1990. Nothing has changed since then. We still have a 6-lane, a 3-lane one way, 3-lane the other way bridge going across I-5. It's nuts. What is happening? They only give us a diamond lane coming back? That only benefits them.
Right.
This is so stupid. I hate it. I hate this. Get me so worked up. I don't know how this happened.
I get strangely interested in commuting options, and I really am an advocate for don't just drive into Portland. Don't do that. That's what schmucks do. It's like, take the express bus in.
Yeah. The express bus is the way to go.
You can sit, browse the internet. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You don't even notice it.
To me, when I would get on that express bus, it was like this. As soon as the engine started, it was like every ounce of my body just was like, it's time to go to sleep now. And then I just fall asleep, and I'd wake up and then infinity would pass, and then I'd wake up at my destination.
So yeah, I convinced David to carpool with me, and that's where a budding relationship started. And I think like within the third or fourth carpool, we got in an argument.
Sounds like me.
Where it was like, okay, that was surprising, like how extreme it got very quickly, and I was like,
yeah, I'll do that.
And we've learned how to communicate better so much that we have a 3-year-long podcast.
Yeah, and it's not easy. You're a very difficult person.
Here is the last voicemail. This is just from yesterday.
Hi, this is John, also nicknamed the Creepy Colorado, and wonder where I'm from. I just wanted to let you know I found your podcast earlier this month. I'm definitely going to be coming on Patreon at the end of the month when I get my finances in order. I wanted to call and let you guys know I'm going to start pestering you once a week to let you know the information you may have known. First off, pentagram was actually used by Christianity in the 14th century, not just Wiccans. Second, whore is actually a street term for homies on the reel. So everyone that's listening to the podcast is a definite homie. Third, you're both wrong. Spear requires a lot of skill to use in a zombie apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball bat is very heavy. Best weapon for zombie apocalypse, crowbar, hands down. Tool, it's heavy enough to break in bone, and you can wield it repeatedly because it's tempered and weighed that way properly. So honestly,
a crowbar is
crowbar, baseball bat, then spear. Love you guys. Again, at the end of this month, near the end of August, I'll definitely be a Patreon. Again, this is the Creepy Colorado.
Okay,
Bye.
I don't want to offend John because he's saying he wants to be a patron, but
I think we can both
we can both agree that it's not the crowbar.
The crowbar is so much heavier than a bat. So much heavier.
And it's just super short. I would say I would take the crowbar over the bat.
I would take
because I think the crowbar has much more.
You're stupid.
Oh, you know what? It depends on the length of the crowbar.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I'm gonna say like one of the.
You're talking about a pry bar now.
Yeah, like
it's not a crowbar anymore. It's a pry bar. You know what?
Not like a pry bar length, but not like a man length crowbar, but like I don't know, like arm length crowbar. Not like the little.
You're talking the small one's a cat's paw. The big one's a crowbar. The regular size one's a crowbar, and the long one's is a pry bar. And a pry bar is horrendously heavy, and no one should use.
Yeah,
I would.
So yeah, I could see the benefit of that, but I'm still sticking with spear. I still disagree that it is necessarily a skilled weapon because unskilled people use it all the time.
All the time. They're just you should see the people. Just people constantly for recreational activities wielding spears. Mm-hmm. Not like baseball at all. Where people are just like just winging just crowbars around.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right, thanks John for calling in.
I hope he becomes a patron and then I can't say anything bad about his crowbar thing.
Mm.
Then I have to be like, yeah, crowbar.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
So that's the voicemails. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for listening to the show. Want to also give thanks to our patrons.
Oh, no. What are you doing?
Our new patrons.
Yeah, who are they?
Kate R., Carly D., Russell L., and Leroy E.G.
What about Arrow Wolf?
Yeah, that's Russell L.
Okay.
So thank you so much for joining our Patreon. I can't express how much that helps us out.
I can.
Like, it's a huge support for the show and allows us to do lots of cool things and support the growth of the podcast. Honestly, anything that you give us, we're just pumping back into the podcast and to make it better and bigger.
Is that a raincoat? Yes, it is.
Please share the podcast with a friend. That's the other way that we grow. Saves us money on advertising if you just do the outreach for us. Also, again, go to our website, horrormovietalk.com. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon in the next week, go to horrormovietalk.com and click through the Amazon button in the banner, and then we get a little taste of that.
Helps us out. Y'all have a good week.
And that's it.
And we love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Looking for a podcast full of burps and gas, perverted cast, skinny and fat? Look no further. Horror Movie Talk is accidentally funny, begs to donate money, fake sponsors for dummies, and so much more. New episodes every hump day. They'll pickle your dickle for foreplay. Patreon members have it your way. Vote for a movie every month for the review. Chompa chompa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rumps. Kiss, Bryce Hansen. Look at them hot kids, Chris Henson. Masturbate with a crucifix, exorcist. Face huggers, chest bursters, alien. Linda Blair peed on Sigourney Weaver. I know it's true cause it came from social media. Patrick Bateman can't understand you. Stab you to death for rotten apple reviews. Opinionated podcaster with a doctorate. Spookology, doctor of philosophy. Bad gastritis, need colostomy. Turn Patreons into human centipedes. David Doobie Day, scare him, no expert. And Global fucks hard, professional sexpert. Afterpods, taglines, and porno flicks. American Psycho, them guys pretty sick. Chompa chompa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rumps. Nothing good happens in the woods. Always get more than you bargain for. Got a pickle to dickle, machines tickle bitties. Killer on the phone, ain't no Sharon Stone. Vancouver, Portland, Oregon, and organs. Corona, COVID, curse, Lorona. Green River Killer, because reasons. Hallway of poop monster kids screaming. Ain't your ordinary dingleberry itinerary. 30-day shutter and jump scares ain't fucking scary. Time for the spoilers with jokes and tropes. Use their white socks to catch their loads. Just show them one titty, pretty. Paganism you should worship, they Teflon dicks. Pacific Northwest, let them see one breast. Shifty ass, stay spooky, poor man's digress. Bugsy, HMT, Horror Movie Talk. Hold on, they don't like Halloween. Fuck them.
I will suck your dick. I will suck your fucking dick. I will do it. Just join my team. I'll suck your dick. You can fuck me or get fucked by me. You can watch me fuck something. Just point at something in the room and I'll fuck it for you. Come on, just tell me what you want me to fuck.
Jesus Christ, MacGruber.
Just tell me what you want me to fuck.